Good morning, Michael Walsh and Roger Norgal here, Norwal Farm. It's a beautiful day today. It's a little breezy, 20 degrees. It's Saturday, January the 18th. It's a day before we're supposed to go into our deep polar plunge. Temperatures are supposed to go down. High, I think, on Monday is in single digits, low is well below zero. So today we're gonna get ready for the deep freeze. It's only supposed to last about 3 days, and I don't think any of these will lamb then. It's supposed to be back up in the 20s during the day and single digits at night, so we should be good to go. That's 21. She's the one that had the prolapsed vagina. She's doing extremely well. She's the first one to lamb. She and the one Jacob ewe there, we crutched them, which is trimming the wool around the udder and the flank and around the vulvar area. So we did that yesterday on 4 of them. And udder-wise, she's not as developed as what this one is, and she's due a week later. So the marking harness wasn't working quite as well as I'd liked then. I adjusted the position of it then. So that one might have a later breeding date. But we've got the barn cameras, the ring cameras. We showed you that earlier. One's up there, and the other one's right there. So we can get a full view of the pen by using both cameras. So we can check them as often as we need to for signs of, to go into the nesting behavior and lambing. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. I've got the brooders ready to go right there. I got to make one yet, but those are ready for when we need them. And today we're gonna bring up some bales of hay, the baleage over there where that white line is. We're gonna bring 2 bales up and just stack them, set them right there by the shed. And that way, because it's supposed to have wind chills below zero, well below zero. So what we can do is just toss the hay out, probably almost in those sheds there. It'll at least be out of the wind for the sheep and the goats, because they're not going to want to go out in the wind and eat. So that's what we'll plan on doing the next couple of days. And then we're going to put piles of dog food out on the ground in the feeding station, so they don't have to try to eat out of that metal dog feeder, because it's super cold, and if their tongue happens to hit that, it could give them some frostbite or a freezer burn. So we don't want to do that. So that's what we're going to do today. Get things set up and then see how we go with the cold weather. That's one of the ewes there that we crutched last night, number 14, and 21 was trimmed. Trim the flank area, you can see the nipple right there. We do that to get all the wool away from the udder so that the nipples are quite evident. You can see on her too, right there, you can see her nipple. Reason for that is if there's any wool tags hanging down, sometimes a lamb will latch onto a wool tag and not get the teat. So just makes a clear shot for the lamb to find the nipple. So we did that on 4 of them. We did those 2, and then the 2 Jacobs. Can't really see it on them because they have long tails. But so those 4 are done in anticipation. If they would happen to lamb in the cold weather, at least it's done before it got real cold. I really think this ewe here, 21 with the ropes on her, she'll be the first to go. I'm pretty confident. 14 is due, and you can see her udder development is there, but the nipples aren't tight yet or anything, so she's probably at least a week off. We keep this hay feeder full for them, and last night that was full, so they've eaten quite a bit. And what I've been doing is I take some of that after they eat it down, put it out here on this end. They sift through it, and what they don't eat then they use for bedding. So we'll do that today, and then we'll fill it back up again with new hay. Got the manger filled, and that'll last them at least a day. They graze on that all the time. With the barn cameras, what I find is they eat periodically throughout the night. They'll eat and they'll lay down and chew their cud, and then they actually rest for about an hour or so. They actually kind of put their head on the ground and close their eyes, and then they get up and do it again. So I think they have 1 to 2 hour rest sessions / sleep sessions, but it goes all night long. So I left this out. You can see they're rummaging through it and getting the leaves and the good food out of it. And the stems that are left over, they'll use that for bedding. So they're all done for now. I did make sure they had fresh mineral in that mineral feeder, because they eat a lot of that mineral, and that's really important. It has all their selenium and all the essential minerals in them that they need for proper production and growth of the lambs and everything. We get 1,000 pounds of grain at a time, and there's 6 32 gallon plastic containers there. We store it in there to keep the birds and the mice out of it. We had 1 bag extra, so that's what I filled the buckets out of and fed the ewes out of today. So these grain buckets here we'll take down to the run-in shed, and we give the ewe lambs their grain, and then the does that are due the end of February and beginning of March, they've been started on grain too, so we'll take that down there. See, the ewe lambs are there at the gate waiting. They're conditioned for their grain, and the does are too. Does are, they finished their hay from last night, so we'll put some more in there for them today. Where the llama is, where Heidi is, there's still some hay in that feeder. I'll probably put just a little bit more in those feeders, but make them work on that. And the ewe lambs, they've still got plenty of hay in their feeders. We'll let them work on that today, and then the rams will get a couple of slabs. Then, like I said, I'm going to bring a couple bales up. We're going to stack them here, probably 2 bales for the really cold weather. That way we can just peel it off. You can see the sheep and the goat dolings are laying in there. It's out of the wind, the sun's warm, so we'll probably just toss their hay right in the wake of that building tomorrow. That'll protect them from the wind, because the wind chills, like I said, Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday, I think, are supposed to be well below zero, like 25, 30 degrees below zero. So dogs will be fine. They'll have dog food. They've got a nice thick coat, but they also go in there when they need to. And you can just see the top of that's Charm, top of her ears there. She's in there laying in the sun, but Garrett and Champagne are laying out basking in the sun. So they're in the wake of the woods there out of the wind, or that pile of trees out of the wind. So they find where they're comfortable. And same thing over here. We'll put their feed tomorrow, out in the paddock there on the ground. That way they can eat it better, and it's out of the wind and more accessible for them. So we'll get that prepped now, and we're going to feed the... This is the connector for the electric fence here. It's just like a battery cable almost, but this part is energized. This is where the current comes from. It goes all the way around down there. So this fence is off now. Hey, Charm. There's Charm, Garrett, and Champagne. So they usually come out to greet us. So we'll get the does their grain now. As you saw, it's kind of a feeding frenzy when you go in the gate. They push really hard and push against the gate, so you got to make sure you got a good grasp on it so they don't get out. And there's 6 or 7 at each feeder. There's 21 counting the billy goat out here, and like I said, there's 8 at the far one, but they spread out. They all get their fair share. So this is working pretty good. We put the hay in last night for extra bedding. That's the old dry hay. And we didn't spread it out at all. We just put the slabs in there. And they go through it and eat some of it. And then, as you can see, they've pretty well spread that out. Same thing for the rams. And then the doelings and the does over there. So they've got plenty of bedding for when it gets really cold, because they'll need that. Kind of interesting on these does, you can see that gray fur on top of her. That's actually cashmere. Goats have a 2-layer coat in the winter, and so that's actually cashmere that goes in. It's a good insulator. She's been probably scratching her back a little bit, but they all have it. You just can't see it on all of them. The darker ones, it kind of shows up because you can see kind of underneath the outer hair, like on the rump on this one. Those little lighter patches, that's actually cashmere. So, and then in the spring they shed all that out, and you'll find clumps of it all over the place. Have to re-energize the fence before I forget. So just clip that onto there. And now that's electrified. It's worked really well for us. I don't know if you can see the goats over there. They got a piece of bark that they're playing with. Their browsers, and got a piece of bark. They'll be chewing on that. Our plan today, we started feeding this bale yesterday, and it goes back to here. So we'll feed the rest of this today. We'll just put chunks out on the ground for them, for all of them, and then put some in the feeder for the does. And then this bale and this bale, we're gonna take up and stack. And that way we'll have it up there for really cold weather. We should be out of the wind, and we can just toss it over for them so they'll be out of the wind. Brought the balance of that bale up here, so we'll just peel off different slabs and we'll put some out there for the ewe lambs and some in the feeder for the does, and I think I'll probably put it in the feeders for the doelings and ewes out there because they eat it out of that pretty good. So, and then we'll put a couple flakes over for the rams. Spread the hay out on the ground for the ewe lambs and the young Billy there. They can eat it through the feeder. They've got some left, and that'll be something left for them to nibble on. But they don't pull out of the feeder as good as the dorpers and the goats do. So it's really important for them to have full bellies going into really cold weather, because the fermentation from the rumen helps keep them warm too. So you don't want to have them hungry when you got bad weather coming in. You want full bellies. So got those done. I've got a slab up there, good sized slab for the rams. We'll get that to them, and we're going to haul those other two bales up and stack those up there at the run-in. You can see the twine strings there on the side of the bale right there, and same thing down here. So with a grapple hook, I come down from the top and squeeze from the side. So I have to roll those either away from me or towards me so that the strings are on the top and bottom. That way when I grab it with a grapple hook, I don't cut any strings. So we'll do that and get them transported to the shed. You can see those white patches, and that's what would have been the bottom of the bale. And we've had it along here on a number of bales. That's mold. Should not be here. And I think what caused it, there were stubbles out here when we baled, and probably putting this down on, the stubbles poked a little hole there. So next year what we need to do is put just a path of crushed limestone down, and then we'll stack the bales on the crushed limestone, and that'll prevent that. But we throw the moldy parts out, and it's nothing serious. Cattle would probably eat it, but sheep and goats, we throw it away. But that's what's doing that. And this whole row, there's been several bales that have had that, so I'm sure that's what it was, because we'd mowed this down, and there was some, stems sticking up from some weeds and things, and with the weight of that, it just pokes a little. It just takes a little pinhole for the air to get in. Got the rams fed, so everybody's had their hay today, haylage or baleage. This will be enough to hold them until tomorrow. They're got good bedding there. We put that dry hay in last night, and they spread it around pretty good. So everybody is all set. Ewe lambs are out there eating well. A couple of doelings are in heat today. There's one right there, Nevis. You can see her there at the corner. They got their injection of Lutalice 2 days ago. We injected all of them because if you remember back about 2.5 weeks ago, this gate got open and all the rams and the billy goat was out there, and 2 of the rams had bloody heads from fighting, but there were some of the doelings that were in heat, and this is their father, and I know he bred at least one of them. So you can see her standing there. She's switching her tail a little bit. You watch close. And just switching her tail there. Yeah, there you go. And calling, and they come over and stand by the billy goat because they're attracted by his odor. So that's a good thing because we didn't want any babies from him bred to his daughters, so that should have taken care. I noticed 21, what looked like some stool hanging there. And you can see it's stuck underneath that rope. So we just got to get that out of there. It's kind of dried. So that's a risky run. They can get a little constipated. So we'll adjust that, make sure she gets cleaned out. It wasn't too bad on her, just a little bit of stool stuck there. So I got that loose, and then I just adjusted the ropes just a tiny bit. But I think someone just got stuck there and didn't push it on out. Our cold weather adjustment for the dogs actually started a couple of months ago. We switched to this food, Nutrisource Performance. It has 30% protein, 20% fat. So that extra fat especially helps them in this colder weather. They don't have to eat as much food to get as many calories as they need. So it's better for them, saves us money. But for this bitterly cold, I'm going to dump a couple of piles of this food out in their feeding station. And because if I dump it on the ground, the goats and the sheep are going to eat it. So they will have to go to the feeding station. But it'll be on the ground, and that way they don't have to worry about the metal feeder where it feeds out. See, this is a metal feeder, and you can see the feed all the way back there, but they have to kind of lick it with their tongue, and that super cold weather, I'm afraid their tongue might stick to the metal. So I brought a pail of feed down. That holds half a bag or 20 pounds. So we'll put 10 pounds in here. We want to pour it between the boards because some of those kids have been getting in here. So we'll put it between the boards here. They'll be able to get to it, the dogs. And then we'll put the other half a bucket out for Dylan and Callum. As you can see, these sheep are bucket trained. I walked out here with the dog food and they all followed me, but got a good pile there. Hey Dylan, good boy. And he can get in there. That's more than he can eat, so he's a higher ranking than Callum, so he eats first and then Callum gets to go in. So he can get in there. And there again, they'll have a full belly for cold weather. And be a ready access of food for them. So all the sheep are fed, all the goats are fed. Got our hay ready for the storm. Everybody seems to be full right now, so hopefully we're ready for the sub-zero weather. Last thing we do in this cold weather, especially the super cold, is we plug the engine block warmer in. There's a block heater built into this diesel tractor, so you plug that in and that keeps it oil warm, and then we start it up and let it set and warm up. It's hydrostatic dry, so you gotta let the hydraulic fluids warm up. So that's the last thing we do. So anyway, thanks for joining us today. If you haven't, please subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell, and if you would please hit the like button. That helps our channel, and leave us a comment and share this video with a friend. Thanks again for joining us at Norwal Farm.